We have had some interesting discussions up until now, and if I were to quickly summarize some key takeaways for the benefit of our audience, I would say find time to experiment with generative AI in a manner that reaps benefits while staying mindful of potential pitfalls. Your first stop is your security and risk team to make sure you're following best practices for responsible AI. Start with maybe one or two low risk use cases that will not disrupt your customer facing operations. Finally, ask tough questions of your vendor partners around the underlying training data and content moderation for both the input and the output. With that, I'm excited to kickstart our next session with SearchUnify's own in-house experts as they demonstrate and discuss how SearchUnify's all-new LLM-infused platform and products are set to enable enterprises to ride the LLM wave. I have joining me Bharat Sethi, who is the product manager here at SearchUnify, and Taranjeet Singh, principal data scientist at SearchUnify. Taran, Bharat, welcome to the session.
Hi, Garima.
Hey, Garima. Hey, everyone.
Hey, Garima. Hey, everyone.
With that, Bharat, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Garima. It's been a great event so far, and happy to be here today. We recently announced that SearchUnify platform is fully integrated with OpenAI and Hugging Face. We are on top of the LLM wave across all our products of SearchUnify. We did this to ensure that we further elevate capabilities like conversational AI, content generation, summarization, etc. Let me introduce you to SearchUnify's all-new LLM-enriched platform. The time is now to experience the next-gen customer support. Great. I'll take this opportunity to raise the curtains on our two new products, SUVA and Knowbler. All right, so SUVA, also known as SearchUnify Virtual Assistant, it was formerly called SearchUnify's chatbot in a suite of applications, and Knowbler, also called Knowledge Enabler, that was initially called KCS Enabler applications inside SU's ecosystem. And now let's take a look at a little bit about what are the capabilities of SUVA and Knowbler. Starting with a little bit about SUVA, it's called a key to self-service for millennials. It provides personal and prompt responses to user queries using some of the key capabilities like entity recognition, NLP, intent detection. Let's take a look at how SUVA is different from a traditional chatbot. SUVA possesses the capability to personalize the interaction after understanding context. SUVA seamlessly hands off the conversation to live support agents if required from the same chat window. It can create discussions, it can create cases on the behalf of the user if required, right from where the user is present. It can also support your workflows for HR and IT. And one of the key differentiators that we have in the industry is the adapters that we possess. One of the adapters is obviously SearchUnify's cognitive technology and the cognitive search that we already have as a part of ecosystem, so that it powers the bot, and there's no use case left where the answer, the user puts in a query and the bot says, I don't have any answer for it, because there are some set of most relevant search results which are powering the bot at the backend as a fallback. All right, time to meet Knowbler. Knowbler is world's first knowledge-enabled customer service software. Knowbler revolutionized knowledge creation, discovery, and reuse. Let's take a look at the top features which Knowbler possesses. The key pain point of the support manager is motivating their support agents to become knowledge workers and capturing the knowledge while they're resolving cases. Knowbler can auto-populate content inside some predefined templates and present it to the agents when they are about to close the case. It has ability to reuse, review, and fix existing knowledge. Some key analytics, like support effectiveness. Support effectiveness means like when some of the articles which are created via Knowbler, whether they are being used and shared further or being attached to cases or not, and contributor analysis. If there are too many agents, which of the agents are actually creating knowledge and which are not. And it's not just about closing the loop, creating knowledge. It's about setting the content standard, whether the articles being created are complete, unique, accurate, or not. At this point, SearchUnify's all products are now under the umbrella of large language models. And there are so many features across all these products which are now LLM powered. And I'll now hand it over to principal data scientist of SearchUnify and my friend Taranjit Singh, who will walk you through all those features across multiple products. Okay.
Thank you, Bharat, for that generous introduction. And I'll be speaking about how do we actually integrate all of these technologies into the 3 different platforms of SearchUnify. One side, we have SUVA, which will take the benefits of large language models using conversational AI and contextual responses. Then we have Knowbler, which will use article title suggestions and summarization as a benefit from large language models. Knowbler is more close to generative AI because the purpose of Knowbler would be to create coherent and consistent knowledge base from the cases that your agents are getting. And last but not the least, our cognitive search, SearchUnify itself, would get a boost and evolution of features like named entity recognition, re-ranking, direct answers, and much more. Though these first features were already working on SearchUnify's proprietary algorithms and models, they will benefit from large language models and will enable you to use things like chain prompting, prompt engineering to take them to the next level. I'll start with a quick demo of how do you even integrate these APIs into our system. The first thing to do would be to get your OpenAI key or Hugging Face key. And once you have that, all you need to do is go to our integration screen where you will find the prompt for most of the popular inference platforms already ready. We understand that the number of inference platforms that will provide these kind of large language models will continue to grow. Hence, we are ready to make sure that even in the future, you have the integration with all the major large language models ready. Before we proceed further, I would like to have a word of caution. So SearchUnify does its very best to gate and mitigate most of the issues that we have with the large language models, like other people able to see your queries and things like that. You have to be careful when sharing your data with these third-party integrations. OpenAI, for example, would use your data to train their models and serve other customers. And you have to figure out that whether you're comfortable with sharing your data in there. Our opinion, our preference would be to use only public-facing data with OpenAI integration. And when you want to work with something more private, more discrete, with lot of personal identifiable information, use modules or inference platforms like Hugging Face, which provide you dedicated instance that make sure that your data is secure within your VPC. You still have to be mindful that if you're using single model to serve multiple users, the memory doesn't make sure that one of the user is able to see the answers of the other. SearchUnify can help you mitigate some of these problems with its integration. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about, the demo of conversational AI. The conversational AI is the biggest benefit, the biggest achievement that large language models are able to provide. You don't have to set up the content. You don't have to set up the intent. You come in, you upload a document, you upload a certain context, and your chatbot is ready to play around and give you answers. And that's the kind of functionality that we are looking in SearchUnify too. Conversational AI is able to bring exact answers from what is present in the vanilla ChatGPT. The vanilla ChatGPT will never have the context. Let's talk about the demo that we are seeing in the screen. For example, if I ask that, hey, can you tell me about SearchUnify briefly? This particular context that you're seeing here, or the steps to add taxonomy in SearchUnify, these are specific to SearchUnify documentation, even though large language models and ChatGPT would have trained on the public-facing content, they wouldn't give you this exact answer because they lack the context. On the left-hand side, you can see that this is the generic answer that we get from ChatGPT. These large language models dilute the knowledge that we have by generalizing and aggregating them into a singular template. And whenever they match a keyword, they present these templates in the generic way possible, trying to match it with your platform. But when you use SearchUnify's bot, we'll make sure that the text that you need to get the exact answers, the exact conversation is respected. And you will be able to tune and play around with this and still respect the logic-based flows that you so love about SU bots. In the next screen, we're going to talk about Knowbler. One of the most awaited features in generative AI is the title generation, and of course, the summarization. What kind of knowledge can we provide when we already know the context and the description? For example, in this particular case, you are seeing that we have a case with subject and description about NER, which your user is coming in and creating. When an agent is assigned to create an article for this, if you're using large language models, if you're using Knowbler, you will have a consistent and well-represented articles coming in. For example, in this case, when I go to create an article, the title NER optimal search is already auto-filled by our large language model. And this will be present for all the cases where the description is in a way that titles can be created for them. And the next slide, we'll talk about article quality index. And what does it even mean, right? Large language models and even content generation, whether it in the form of generative or not, suffer from a lot of pitfalls, whether the article is unique or not, whether the article is coherent or not, whether the link presence are relevant or not. We all know that because of LLMs prone to hallucination, there will be many times that you'll have to validate that whether the links that this particular LLM is providing is relevant or coherent or not, right? Most of the times, when we force the LLM to create links for us, it will create some dummy links that lead to a 404, or it will hallucinate. It will provide information that it thinks is true, but it's not. And that's where most of the features, most of the parameters in the article quality index comes in, so that you can make sure that the content that you're creating using generative models are well articulated. They're not profane. They're not hallucinated. The sources that are represented are actual present or not. In the next slide, we're going to talk about one of the core features that SearchUnify is going to inherit from LLMs. Large language models are prone to miss the domain specification of your enterprise. If you're looking to get an answer that is suitable or particular to your exercise, if you're looking for an answer that is particular to your enterprise and not the information found in internet or journal purpose dictionaries, you'll be in some trouble when you're using ChatGPT. A classic example of this would be if you're searching for Chronos in ChatGPT. It might tell you about the god of space and time. But if you're looking for a specific set of answer based on your enterprise, which is Chronos, the company, you might fall into some pitfalls. And that's why transfer learning, or understanding the context, providing the prompt engineering and templates, is essential when using these kind of information. And SearchUnify's named entity recognition was already able to do that, and would be now leveraging LLMs to make sure the keywords that you're asking represents the article that should match with that named entity and not just any keyword. And the next slide, we see the example of one of the most awaited features, direct answers. Direct answers are powerful. If you have your knowledge segregated in multiple documents and someone needs to understand and read and create a direct answer for them, that can be now only done by agents. More often than not, you'll see the case comments filled with multiple articles where your agent is saying that, hey, why don't you go to this article and copy this part and move on to next article and use that part to create a well-structured answer. But with the advent of direct answers, your large language models, your SearchUnify platform in the form of direct answer would be able to serve you these answers. One of the toughest questions that we get in SearchUnify is, what is the max depth of website crawling that you can do? And here we can see that it's able to understand that, pull it up from our documentation and give that answer as 10. And now I'd like to hand over to Garima to take this all further. Thank you.
Thanks, Taran. Thanks, Bharat. I think for our audience, these are some great insights, and we would love for our audience to share their questions or comments in the chat. And I would like to welcome our audience to visit our website and get a one-on-one consultation with our AI ML experts and see for yourself how these LLM-infused features can elevate your customer support ecosystem. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. We'll share the recording shortly after the event. Thank you, everyone.